The federal government is planning to introduce laws this year to get the Fair Work Commission to set minimum pay and conditions for employee-like workers. Now, this potentially affects many people in the gig economy, independent contractors who work for rideshare and on-demand delivery companies. Well, the biggest of those is Uber, and it's not taking it lying down. Today, launching an ongoing ad campaign that seeks changes to the government's plans. Uber's Managing Director in Australia and New Zealand is Dom Taylor, who joins me now. Dom, many thanks for your time. For what purpose are you taking this on? To change the legislation? To have it scrapped completely? What's the idea?
No. So the government has indicated that reforms will come in the second half of this year. For the avoidance of doubt, we are pro-reforms. We think this is a once-in-a-generation moment to get reforms right for the gig economy, but they need to be done right. And so that's why the voice of drivers and delivery partners across Australia need to be part of the process that the government is running.
Is the Fair Work Commission, which the government seeks to use, the right organisation to impose minimum wage conditions and minimum conditions on gig economy workers?
Well, it's early days in the process. All that detail will be worked through over the coming months. What drivers tell us is that 9 in 10 drivers and delivery partners wouldn't earn with Uber if it wasn't for the flexibility that the app offers. For 150,000 people that make money on Uber every month, that's a pretty big thing that we have to solve for and get right.
So is your grave fear here that extra payments might be needed for people who are working at night time, for example, or public holidays, whatever it might be, that there might be conditions built into it that means that people, well, don't have the flexibility to work, or indeed that you end up having to pay more to those people on those days?
Well, if you think about the nature of work today with Uber, you come on when you want, switch off when you want. If you want to go away for a few weeks, don't tell us about it. You wear what you want. And so it is innately flexible, and we need to retain that. Only 7% of people that use Uber in 2022 use it like an employee-like job. 48% of people are using multiple apps at any point in time. And so we have to solve for that in a unique way. It needs to be bespoke reforms that captures the unique nature of the gig economy here in Australia.
Is your grave fear that Australia's industrial relations platform, if it's imposed upon the gig economy, that it's set up for something that was decades old as compared with the gig economy, which is brand new?
Yeah, that's right. And the Productivity Commission has also said similar lines on Friday, that we can't be shoehorning this reform into existing legislation. Rather, it needs to be bespoke for the new type of work today. This is a new type of work that has emerged over the last 10 years, and we really need to be making sure that the reforms, which we're looking forward to occurring, are the right ones that capture the greatness whilst also enhancing benefits and protections associated with working on gig economy platforms.
Because one obvious thing to me is with 10 interest rate rises, with rising food prices and electricity prices, that many people who are entering the gig economy now are doing so to survive cost of living. They might have another job, but they're still taking the extra work to try and survive. That's where the flexibility is needed.
That's right. I sit down and talk to many drivers and delivery partners often, and they each have their own story. We've got the person who is training to become a nurse that's doing it in their night shift. We've got many people that are using this as secondary income. It's unique for each person. And as you say, as we have weakness in the economy and people have more cost of living pressures, people are increasingly looking at the gig economy for a second form of income.
Okay, so what would be your ideal scenario to come out of the government's plans and out of this legislation, which you don't oppose, which you pointed out?
Well, most important for now is that the voice of drivers and delivery partners, who the reforms are set out to improve the lives of, are part of the process. We need to be part of that consultation. In terms of the final outcome, we think that it should be national. We think that it should be a bespoke set of reforms. We think that an earnings safety net should be at the centre of any reforms, and then that there is opportunity for protections and benefits such that we retain the flexibility of the gig economy whilst also adding in additional safety nets and protections.
Dom Taylor, Chief Executive of Uber in Australia and New Zealand, many thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Ross.